You're probably wondering why you're looking at a TikTok video from May 12. Apparently, there's some things going on in the background that we weren't aware of. And I know we discussed the Florida incident last week, but let's start this off with the TikTok video.
Hey, I got a weird one for you. Why is the Vatican holding a press conference this Thursday? A reason that they give for this press conference is cause for. But before I move on, I must say this video is for entertainment purposes only. With that being said, let's take a look, shall we? Vatican preparing guidelines for apparitions and other supernatural phenomena. So guidelines, the Vatican puts out guidelines all the time, and they update them all the time. But regarding supernatural phenomenon and apparitions, they haven't done it since 1978. The Vatican is preparing to release a document giving guidance on how to discern supernatural phenomena. The Holy See Press Office announced the upcoming document will be published May 17th with a live stream press conference. They are in the process of finalizing a new text with clear guidelines and norms for the discernment of apparitions and other phenomena, according to the National Catholic Register. Why are they so concerned that we might not understand the difference between apparitions and other phenomena? I don't know. Maybe we should look and see how the Vatican defines an apparition. An apparition refers to an instance in which a divine entity, such as a saint, the Virgin Mary, or Christ himself, makes itself known to a person on earth. I told you it was weird. What do they think we're going to see that we would not be able to discern between the supernatural and other phenomena? Is this really just an update to their guidelines, or is it a preemptive strike? I'm kind of leaning towards the preemptive strike, getting the information out there before it happens. But I have no idea. I do know I'm interested, and I'll be watching.
Hello everyone, I'm Robert, and I'm here today to talk to you about Atwood Rope Manufacturing and a great sale that's ongoing, limited quantities, on 550 paracord. Atwood Rope Manufacturing is made right here in the United States of America, and they have different varieties of rope and cord and other accessories. There are dozens of types of different cord and rope available. A lot of them are suited for emergency preparedness and home use. Without further ado, here's the great deal. You can get 100 feet of random color 550 paracord for the low price of $2.80. That's $6.19 off the regular price. If you use our coupon right there, you'll get an additional 10% off of your cart. The sale is ongoing as of today, May 15th, 2024, but it's limited quantities. Thanks for tuning in.
All right.
Crazy.
So that certainly sets the stage for the topic that we're going to discuss now, and that's the Florida incident. It turns out, after all, after they had to quiet everything down and give everybody calm and rational again, the big boys went in and investigated this thing at a much more serious level. Remember, these are the guys that have access to all videos and video capabilities in that entire area. Remember what I've said in the past? If you think your videos that you have on your phone are not recorded, or that content you have on your phone is safe, not true. So they had a chance to look at everything, and they found out some important things. With the real story, two people did in fact see this creature. A lot of the people that were in the area of the creature were sick. The creature came out of an actual portal that was the circular TV style portal that you think you would see if you're watching a sci-fi show. So that in fact did take place. I don't know if we're actually going to be able to get a chance to see that specific truthful video or not. It sounds like there may be an effort to get the real video out in public, but no facts on that yet. But anyway, the people that were involved in that incident are sick. The two specific kids are very sick. And unfortunately, most of the sickness deals with the mental aspect of their health. So whatever they saw disturbed them on a much greater level than normal. They were forced to do their best in squashing the story because things had gotten so far out of touch with reality that it was unhealthy for the public in general. The reason why I believe that we're seeing this come out of the papacy is because of there's increasing reports of more of these types of incidents, which have been validated as real, of these things coming through the portal that if you follow Christian dogma, revelations that there was the discussion that the veil would be coming down and the creatures from the other side would be manifesting or revealing themselves. That is starting to happen. So, and the deal with the Pope, that's the smoking gun, letting us know that, yeah, it's happening and they're trying to get it out before it happens. So now they've got control of the narrative again, like they did with the UFO incident in Nevada. Speaking of which, the people that were involved in that incident are also sick. Their issue was more on the lines of radiation poisoning. And I think there might have been something related to radiation poisoning with the kids in the Florida incident. If you follow the UFO lore, a lot of the people that have close encounters with UFO or alien entities, in quotes, also have symptoms of what appears to be radiation poisoning, which I find an interesting correlation between the religious / alien ways of looking at this issue. Next up, there's going to be major cyber and memory issues. I got the message strongly 4 times last night that you need to, the message that we passed last summer, it is now becoming a thing. It's finally getting to the point that it's a real threat. And I believe the tie-in with the flare situation, the CMEs from the sun, also feeds into that threat as well. So initially it started off with get your data backed up. They didn't specify how at the time, but they were leaning towards making sure that you get some high capacity devices. And we're going to get you links later on. I think those links are being shared right now on which, or suggestions on which devices would be best for saving your data. In addition to that, later on, and so from that standpoint, I'm thinking, okay, this is just a cyber threat. It's becoming very real. One of the things letting you know that the cyber threat is going to be very real is you're probably going to see a message in the next couple of days from Microsoft and Android and others. The wording used and the potential messaging was somewhat sarcastic. So I don't know if somebody in corporate in marketing is getting them to dumb down the message from being sarcastic to something a little bit more legalese boilerplate. But it's basically going to say, if you value your computer, you need to back up your contents as part of the update or the warning that comes. That in of itself, without anything else taking place, should be a warning for people that are paying attention that something is coming down. Later on, about 2 hours later, a message came out again to back up your data. And this time they said they recommend, like it was said a year ago, that you back up your data using CDs or DVDs instead of electronic media, as that is more likely to survive a data corruption. That level of detail tells me that we're looking at a magnetosphere / CME type issue that could cause people to lose their data. And in fact, the other day when we had those big storms pass through, we had at least 2 cars' batteries completely die. One of the batteries was my battery, and the battery was not older than 2 years. It was less than 2 years. And there was no indication of any trouble with that battery. In addition, the car that was jumping my battery had an issue itself. They almost lost their battery. You could tell it was weak, but once they were able to get their car up, they were able to jump my battery. So whatever went through that area took out a bunch of batteries, and my battery was perfectly healthy. And when I turned it in, they agreed that that battery should not have gone bad, but it in fact did. All right, so if you're not picking up on the message being shared here, you need to back up your stuff. You need a hard copy of your passwords. You need a hard copy of all of your important documents, like birth certificates or anything on that level of importance. And then for your family photos and other documents that you use, you're going to want to either back those up on electronic medium or on CDs or DVDs. I think Bob's probably, especially when Bob and I get some feedback, we're going to see if we can get a deal for you guys to get access to the things that you need in order to back up your data. I expect we'll have an answer for that before the end of the night tonight. When I say end of night, I mean by midnight tonight at the latest. All right. I got another message from the state of Texas. Cryptosporidium. Apparently they want doctors' clinics in Texas to send any samples that they get through the lab testing organizations. They're supposed to submit their pleptosporidium results and a sample to the state of Texas so they can analyze it for themselves as well, because there's an outbreak of some kind going on, and they're getting concerned that this is mutating. And in fact, it has mutated to the point that there's a strain out there that is chlorine resistant, meaning you could catch this even if you go into a fully chlorinated swimming pool. For those of you that missed it in the past week or two, the Chinese threat regarding circuitry went far beyond software. It went into the fact that they were able to embed an alternate level of circuitry within a chip or a circuit card that you couldn't see. It would look like a completely normal circuit card. And if you ran the circuit card through testing, you couldn't see that there was a problem because of the way they layered the circuits. Embedded within the card was a secondary layer of circuitry that they would use to hijack your system in a future need. So yeah, keep your eyes out for that message or disclaimer from Microsoft and other companies. Potentially Apple, for some reason, there was a question on whether or not Apple was going to take part in this, but Apple's always done its own thing. So we'll see. They also highly recommend that if you've got anything on the cloud, that you get that downloaded to some sort of a medium that's off board of your computer as well. Another warning we got yesterday was lasers will be utilized in the desert. If we start seeing laser type incidents take place and it involves a desert, that's going to be a form of warfare that's taking place. It was confirmed again that the weather issue is going to get worse. So if you thought this past 2 weeks was bad in the United States, it's going to get worse. After the fires from above and below, there will be no more children. If we have the situation where we get the fires from below caused by the magma igniting the oil and gas fields in western Texas, and then the presumably meteors that come down onto the oil field area, then something is going to take place where there won't be any more kids. I'm wondering if the potential exists that a solar flare would produce enough radiation, ionizing radiation, that people, females or males, would be cooked and sterilized where you couldn't have any more kids. And the fact that we're having a lot of CME and solar flare activity taking place right now, that could be a potential issue. In addition to Pfizer introducing a new drug that is going to help save people from cancer and other issues, I'm seeing an opportunity to invest in a bracelet. Remember, we've had this discussion before, that is going to start curing people of certain types of diseases and help with pain issues, which is tied to addiction to painkiller issues. These are things that we've touched on in the past, and I think this is going to be an interim step so that when the new bracelets come out that have all the cures on them, it won't necessarily surprise anybody and be so obvious that it was held in the wings on purpose. We now know that it looks like somebody is going to be drilling into the magma to create super capable geothermal activity sites. And of course, there's going to be some some pretty obvious risks that are going to be a part of this mess. There's a new cotton candy-like planet that was discovered. This is probably a way of letting the public know that all planets are not created equal. So when the other system comes through, people would be more willing to accept the explanation of why they haven't seen it until the last minute. And the largest X flare so far, an 8.7, was released from that superactive sunspot as yesterday. And some of the sites are just now reporting that today. The WHO is, for lack of a better phrase, telegraphing their potential intent for a future issue, and I have to be careful with my detail on that one. As we've seen 2 weeks ago, making the YouTube video, even with the benign reference to an issue, they took down the video. Space.com has admitted that icy bodies are in fact sneaking past Neptune. So again, that's more of a warning that issues are going to be taking place, and we're probably going to get more space activity.
I'm not sure if they upgraded the X flare, the X 8.7 to an 8.8, but I heard that that may have actually come after the 8.7, or they may have upgraded it. I'm not sure which, but thankfully it was not Earth firing, so we're somewhat safe from that.
Yeah, that was a direct. Yeah, but it also, I mean, is that the one that's coming around the backside?
Yes.
So, which means it has the a high potential of spitting some nasty ones at us again. And if they continue to get worse, then remember the warning: if we start seeing really colorful displays during the daytime, that's when the next set of issues take place, and that goes in with some of the things that we were warned about in the past. The state of Texas is going after the Biden administration on coming up with something to protect women. The state of Texas finally had to step in. I know a lot of people are going to argue that that's cynical, or have some other nice words for that, considering some other issues that took place in the past. But the state of Texas is now battling with the federal government over that issue. I'm thinking we're going to get more details on that in the next day or two.
As far as backing up data, do you think backing up on CD or DVDs versus an actual hard drive and then putting it in some sort of Faraday cage would be the best? Or maybe even both. I mean, because if you can find CDs, DVDs you can burn on, and as long as your equipment survives.
If it's on a DVD or a CD, it should be okay. However, if you've got a mass amount of the data, especially photos and videos, that may not be your best option. Obviously, I would probably prioritize your data, and your most critical data I would have on a CD/DVD, in addition to anything that would be stored on external hard drives. Flash drives would probably be at risk, unless flash drives and external drives still have the potential of a risk, particularly to a CME, unless it is in some sort of a Faraday device. And we're hoping to get updates from several different sources, in addition to the one I'm working on my side. Bob's working on another one on his end, to see if we can get an update on Faraday devices that actually work. There's a lot of devices out there that claim to work, but don't actually work. So we're trying to give you guys the straight answer as best we can before we tell you what to get. We do seem to have a few days at least before it becomes issue, so we do have time, but it sounds like an imminent issue. But I say imminent, I'm probably talking the next 30 days.
I was told by Faraday, I can't remember the name of it. It's Faraday something. They said that in order, the bags that I got are not made, they're made to reject the EMPs and a CME type radiation, but not actual RF, such as cell phone and radio. So that was the problem, according to them, with the bags that I got, with sticking the telephone in there and ringing the telephone, and the signal actually got through in there. But right now I got it for a couple of my radios. I've actually got them wrapped in heavy duty aluminum foil, separated from their batteries, and wrapped with a little bit of cloth so that the contacts of the battery are not actually touching the foil itself. So it's insulated pretty well within and also within the EMP bags. So I'm hoping that that works, at least for a short-term solution until we can find. And the company I was looking at, they actually do have, they were saying 83 dB rejection and higher. You'll actually, in addition to the CME EMP, will also reject the RF for cell phones and radios. So, but those are a lot more expensive, of course, and they've got a copper and something else core. I have to go back and look at the actual devices.
We are expecting 3 major incidents to take place as far as a CME or a flare issue. 3 incidents that would cause some serious harm, and such as scorching the planet. Right now, some of these flares, because of the weakening of the magnetosphere over the past 20-something years, the energy is now pushing all the way down into the, I believe it was the D layer of the ionosphere, which means it's gone down as close as much more than, say, one of those isolated burn events that we've talked about in the past. This is where a larger area can get cooked, and it's gone down as close as 30 miles to the surface of the planet. A more specific number given by the government is they're predicting 19 incidents of concern. 19 incidents of concern. All right. That was the information that I was trying to have a hard time recalling, but there it is. As far as the aluminum foil thing, I did look it up last night as I was looking for some alternatives. And if you're, wrapping your devices in the aluminum foil, if you don't have a suitable substitute for a Faraday type device, then you put them to where they're insulated from the actual sides of the metal container like a trash can, then you would have some level of protection. If you can ground your trash can somehow, then that will be even better for you.
Yeah, the name of the company I'm looking at is Faraday. Well, the website is faradaydefense.com, all one word. So they have full spectrum EMP management and solutions, everything from bags to backpack type things as well. And you're welcome to look at that. I'm just opening dialogue with them to get information. If I can get any deals out of them, or see if we can do any bulk buys, if anybody's interested, we can probably look at that as well.
If I can get the answer I was promised tonight, and I suspect Bob's in the same boat from his guys, we'll try to come up with something that we can try to recommend if we find ourselves in this situation. But yeah, I intend on having the answer by the end of the night tonight. Oh, as far as the warning, the signposts, the fish under the overpass signpost has been fulfilled because of the rains that we got 2 weeks ago. So next up, I believe, is the auroras in the daytime. And I think with the past activity of the past last weekend, I think we're getting close to that as being an eventuality. And I believe the Big Ear situation, the stone steps, that's also not too distant from now.